tell you a little bit about a time I got myself and a fairly sizable group of people lost pretty substantially in the middle of the woods. It was pretty great. So, most people don't know this about me and are pretty surprised to hear it said, looking at me now, being an artist and everything. But growing up, I was fixing to join the military. For those that don't know me, you're welcome. And this is surprising and hilarious for two reasons. Most of which, for one really big reason, I guess. I'm not really military material, as you can see. I'm an artist on a good day, I'm a hedonist on a bad one, and I am a master procrastinator for the rest of my life. I love people, I love art, I love booze. And the only two fights I've ever been in, I was never quite smart enough to either avoid fists or throw a punch. So not very good qualities for a super structured lifestyle involving things that say, go boom. So leading up to what would have been my miserable regimented life, as I realize now, of service and servitude, I thought it sensible to start at something similar but less killy. To get a taste of things to come. So I actually wound up in the cadet program growing up. Yeah. And I always feel like I'm kind of like coming out when I say that in a group full of people that I don't know. Anyway. But a big part of the cadet program, for the one person that said yeah, is going to courses in the summer. And so with so I went into Air Cadets. It's kind of Army cadets and Navy cadets, and with Air Cadets, it's kind of specifically, it's kind of like going into engineering for school. You can do some pretty awesome and useful things, and like get your pilot's license, but you've got to study hard for it. In John Hughes movie terms, we were kind of like joining the physics club as opposed to, Army, who were into the jock thing. So not the Emilio Estevez. Which I mean, you can probably tell. So it's a basically souped up summer camp for nerds, and they pay you for it, which is ridiculous. So some of you guys knew me in school, and therefore probably are aware that I don't study hard for anything. I'm a crap student, and that is something that you learn from having a 10-year Bachelor of Arts degree. Thank you. Right there. Without getting kicked out, apparently. So I fell on the other side of the spectrum, the practical side. I took what they called the Survival Instructor's course, which is exactly as it sounds. It's learn how not to die in the woods and learn how to teach others, which basically boils down to redneck education for city kids. Now, I'm sure this will come as a huge surprise, but a big part of not dying in the middle of nowhere is not getting lost. Yeah. So as such, part of the course is orienteering. So they split you off into small groups, and they give you a map and a compass, which competent people know how to use, apparently, and tell you to hit a bunch of points in order until the finish. And at each point, they give you a number on a compass, the bearing, and then the rough distance that you're supposed to go to. So another thing you should know about cadets in the military is that everything is about competition, which is a little bit traumatizing, as you might imagine. So, of course, the thing was timed, and of course, the team with the best time wins, and of course, we all wanted to win because we were insane little overachieving shits. So to understand what was going through my mind, you sort of have to know what it's like to be a 17-year-old boy. A nerdy 17-year-old boy who went on summer camp to trade being awkward around and rejected by the popular girls in school for being awkward around and rejected by the nerdy girls at camp. What can you do? So that covers like 2/3 of you guys, right? Just kidding. For the rest of you, 3 unmistakable traits of me at that age. I was cocky, because 17, I don't know. I was occasionally clever, but by clever, I mean not in the kind of, useful clever. The kind of clever that helps you build a chain link fence into a bong for smoking things. True story. The kind of clever that will not, or at least should not, make people trust what you have to say ever. So I was cocky and cleverish sounding, I guess, to some, and just a little bit stupid. Well, probably more than a little bit. Anyway, I was clever enough to know that if you wanted to succeed above the rest, because we always did, because we're overachieving, you needed to stand out. I was cocky enough that I thought I could do it, and I had a plan, and that's where stupid came in. We had a good group of people from all over, and most of us played sports back home, and we were pretty fit and probably faster than some of the others. More importantly, though, we had Mr. Smalltown. And Mr. Smalltown is good at everything. He's a small-town kid who got good grades and stood out as a personable and charismatic dude. Got along with everybody. He is a rodeo cowboy in training. I could not make this shit up. This is actually... he's a rule follower, which is a rare thing in a camp full of hormones. And basically, he's the cadet program's wet dream. Pretty sure he was top of the class. So... and I was a bit older than the rest, and had now realized as a budding extrovert that the louder you share your thoughts, unfortunately for the world, the more likely you are to be heard. And so anybody who's read Quiet by Susan Cain, plug for the bookstore, anyway, whatever. Apparently, I was also pretty convincing, which at 17 means I admitted to having smoked pot once or twice. Sorry, Mom. Which in a room full of overachieving nerds is like saying I bicycle kicked Kim Jong-il in the face and seduced Mila Kunis. For the millennials, I guess. I was what passed for rebels in these parts, and they misguidedly seemed to love me for it, which is terrifying. So the two of us wind up in charge. The world's a crazy place. We decided to play our strengths and ran the course. Which, to put it into perspective, is like it's like running through the woods, without paths and stuff. So there's a lot of deadfall and silliness, things that can poke you painfully. And so we as we passed one of the teams ahead of us, I'm pretty sure we were smiling smugly to ourselves at our own ingenuity, because apparently we were 17 and we had just invented running. I'm pretty sure we were grinning ear to ear as we arrived to each new checkpoint, sweating and panting grossly, sure that we were going to arrive in record-shattering time, because apparently that mattered. And then it happened. You see, each year a course candidate is asked to represent the entire class at a big ceremony do thing. It's kind of a big deal, and all the A1 overachievers kind of gun for it. The shit that they make you care about. And so 3/4 of the way through this obstacle course of deadfall, debris, and dirt, they pull Mr. Top of the Class out of the exercise and leave me, Mr. Loudmouth, opinionated, let's get this over with already, in charge. This was my time to shine, and everything ran smoothly until it didn't. I'm not sure exactly how it went down. I'm sure we were pretty tired and preoccupied with, air. But we had blown straight past the final, the end. Which, by the way, was the biggest and most visible of all of them. It could only have been more visible if it was lit up at night with stadium lights. We had blown right past that, and had we not done that, we probably would have, done it in less time than everyone else. But we kept going and going and going. They tell you the distance too, so this is silly. Honestly, I'm not sure why we kept moving. running headlong towards inevitable failure. But it's almost like we figured, hey, if we're going to fail, why not get fit and look great doing it? And then we were lost. And this is northern Alberta. There isn't a road or building for a dozen miles at least in any direction. And we had just crossed a swamp knee-deep in the kind of mud that sucks your boots off. So buggered if we were going to backtrack. And I had gotten us lost. Whoops. So I felt a little bit bad, to say the least. The rescue party, because they formed and sent a rescue party, came 2 hours later. Ample time for the guilt to really set in. They pulled us out of the swamp and dragged us back to camp. On the bright side, I learned a few things that day. It's okay to be directionally challenged. Although, I think I've gotten better since then, I hope. I hope. They're never going to ask me for directions ever again. The powers of extroversion should be only used for good. Running when you have every excuse to walk is stupid. And physics club is overrated. So I didn't wind up enlisting. And that fall, the World Trade Center actually came down. Yeah, which was kind of, and I know I sound a little harsh against them, but I don't actually have anything against the military. It just wasn't for me. It was a decade later that I realized that was the moment that I don't know why I'm even tearing up. That's silly. That was the moment that started changing my mind and getting lost. And I became an artist, chose naked people over yelling people, and in the end, even though it's taken us, even though it's taken the occasional search party to fish me out of a swamp or two since then, I finally found like I found my way. Thank you.